Hello, it's the IT guys, and as promised we're going to be looking at cell formatting in this tutorial. So, we'll begin. So, as you can see here, I've got this list of columns here, and to start with I'm just going to make them underlined by using this tool. I'm also going to add a table around them. So to add the borders to these cells, I'm going to highlight all the borders I want, and then I'm going to click on this one to choose the line colour, and I'm going to go with black. That's the obvious one. I'm then going to choose a line style, just to be this one, and I'm also going to click here on borders, on this little tab here, and I'm going to go all borders. You can pick any of them. You might just want the bottom borders or something like that. I'm going to go with everything. And as you can see, I've now got a little table. So I'm now going to start putting information into this table. So to start with, the name, I'm going to go with Bob Jones. And I'm now going to enter his wages. So it often will default format this if it works it out. I'm going to go for £50. And as you can see, it's changed it to just 50. Now I don't want this. So you've got two options for formatting this. First, right click on the cell and click Format Cells. This can take a little while, but it'll then come up with this option here, saying Format Cells. At the moment, by default, it's gone onto the number format. However, I want it to be currency, because it's in money. He's being paid in UK English pounds. You can go between all the different ones if you want. There's a lot of options. US dollars are in there somewhere, and so on. But I'm going to leave it in British pounds. And it will now give me a little preview. This is going to be £50 with the 2 decimal places on the end and the pound sign at the beginning. You can choose how it's displayed. I want those decimal places, but you don't have to. I can set it to have just 1 decimal place, or 3, using these, but by default it will be 2. You can also include leading zeros, so it comes up with a 6 round. I'm just going to knock that down. I don't need any zeros at the front. And then I'm going to go and click OK. So, it's now showing this in pounds. You can also set the pound currency by clicking on this little button here with the coins on, which is automatically setting it to currency. If you hover over it, it also tells you the keyboard shortcut is Control-Shift-4. So if I typed in 50 here, and then wanted to put this into number format, I can press Control-Shift-4, and that will put it into numbers for currency for me. I'll do it once more. So again, it's still in number, but this time I'm going to press this button here, and that will also put it into currency for me. You can just drag it down like this, but it can sometimes try and add money on, like so, by adding one on. So I'm going to delete that. So to make it drag down the same amount, you hover over 2, so it knows that it's dragging down 50. And now it's dragged down 50 in currency format, all the way along. So now I'm going to do a hire date for Bob Jones. So this one will normally do it automatically, but I'm going to say he was hired on the 3rd of, February 2013. So I do that, and as you can see, it's done date format by default. If it doesn't, you can click this button here, which is looks like a little calendar, and it says date, and that will put it into date format. Otherwise, click Format Cells, and we get date here, and we can obviously change it to different date formats. So for example, I might want it to say the 3rd of February 2013 as opposed to the date. And to do that, I just click this. I'm going to go with it saying, I'll have it like that. So 3rd February 2013. I don't need any of these options. As you can see, they're all greyed out. There you click OK. Might need to make the cell bigger if it comes up with those hashes. To do this, you just click on the top and drag, or double click at the edge of the cell and it will widen it for you. Right, estimated sales. I'm going to estimate he's being £50, he's going to make 50 sales. However, Bob Jones actually makes 75 sales, he's doing quite well. So I'm now going to work out his percentage sales. To do this, we're first going to need some of the formulas we learned in our first video. If you haven't watched it, there'll be a link on the screen. So, what we're going to do is we start with the equals, and then we're going to say that his actual sales, and divide them by his estimated sales. And it's saying 1.5 at the moment. But I want it in percentage. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this number format percent button here. And that will now say that he's made 150% of his predicted sales. Because 100% of 50 is 50, and the extra 50% is 25, so he's made 75, which is 150% of his estimates. So he's doing a lot better than expected. However, for our next person, if I wanted to say they were expected to make £50 as well, but they actually only make 25, that's 50%. So what I'm going to do is go this one divided by this one. As you can see, it's 0.5. So I'm now going to right click, format cells, percent. I can now choose, I can have it as 13 at this, so 50%, or 50% with the zeros on the end. I'm going to decide how many decimal places it goes to. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it at no decimal places, like this one. And I'm not going to have any leading zeros. If I wanted lots of leading zeros, I'll just put a load of noughts on the end. But I'm actually going to leave it as 2 leading zeros, because I don't need it to go higher than 2. I'm going to now go with, I'm going to have negative numbers in red, which means that if someone's making really bad sales and actually loses less money, then it'll come up in red. I'll give you an example of that in a minute, and I'm going to click OK. So it's now showing it as 50%. If they actually lost us 25 sales, like this, it's now showing minus 50% and it's in red. This isn't a realistic scenario, but that is how it works with the formatting. The final thing I'm going to show you is if you're doing some calculations, how to increase or decrease decimal places. So to do this, what we're going to do is I'm going to do some calculations. So I'm going to do, basically it's going to be a third, so I'm going to go 1 and a 3, and I'm going to say that I'm going to divide 1 by 3, like so. And as you can see, it's 0.333333333, and it goes on forever. But I'm going to round it to 2 decimal places. So I'm going to delete decimal places until I get down to 2 decimal places. So it's a more reasonable number. I can add them again using this little green plus button there, and I can keep going and going and going. It'll get too big like this, but it's only working it out to that far. So I'll delete them. So we've now got 0.333333333, and it goes on. I'm going to delete a couple of those decimal places. So that makes it a more reasonable sized number when you're talking about fractions and recurring decimals. We can use percentage by using this percent button. We can change the date format by using this date here, and we can do currency using this one. Next time, if I look at the format cells, I'm going to be looking at a couple of the other options here, like text and boolean, etc. So I'll see you next time for more cell formatting. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.